Team Avatar arrives at the Northern Water Tribe, and Katara runs right into the sexist customs of that tribe. Meanwhile, Zuko tries desperately to make one last gambit to capture the Avatar. This is Avatar Explained for episode 118, The Waterbending Master. Part 1, Synopsis. After days and days of flying, they finally reach the Northern Water Tribe. They are greeted as honored guests at first. The plan is for Aang to train with Master Pakku to become an expert in waterbending. However, Katara also wants to train with him, and this causes a problem because Pakku is a sexist git and he does not want to train Katara. Katara is only allowed to learn healing. And of course, there's nothing wrong with healing. We saw just a couple episodes ago in episode 116, The Deserter, how powerful healing can be, but Katara wants to do more. She wants to fight. And by the end of the episode, she has gotten into a fight with Master Pakku. She proves herself to be quite capable. This is her best waterbending performance to date. She demonstrates how powerful she can be, and how clever and how adaptational her waterbending skill has become. She's gotten really good, is the point I'm getting at. But Master Pakku still wins, and all looks lost for Katara until her necklace comes off, and Pakku realizes that it's the same one he carved for Kana, Katara's grandmother, about 60 years ago. Seeing this, and being reminded of why Kana left, causes Pakku to change his mind, and he decides to train Katara as a waterbender. At the end of the episode, he criticizes her, and we're led to believe that maybe he hasn't changed his mind. But nope, in reality, she was just late, and he's more than willing to train her. Meanwhile, Zuko is almost killed. Admiral Zhao hires the pirates, who we last saw in episode 109, the Waterbending Scroll, to kill Zuko with blasting jelly. Thankfully, this fails, but we only see that Zuko's alive by the very end of the episode. Also, Sokka falls in love. Yes, he's had a kiss before with Suki, but this is his first real romance, as in something that unfolds over the course of multiple episodes, as in something he deeply, deeply cares about. It doesn't look like it's going to work out at first, and Sokka believes this is because he's just a southern peasant and she is the princess of her tribe. But she tells him that no, it's not that. She likes him a lot, but she's already engaged to marry someone else. The episode ends with Katara and Aang learning waterbending together, but Admiral Zhao getting ready to launch his attack on the Water Tribe. Part 2, Analysis. I wouldn't really call this my favorite episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think that is not an uncommon opinion. This whole sexism storyline is just shoehorned in. I wouldn't mind them going in depth on this, but they don't. It's like what we saw in episode 104, The Warriors of Kyoshi, where it's brought up, then resolved, and that's all there is to it. It just seems a very simplistic treatment of some very complex issues. We do get some fist-pumping shots where the audience is designed to go, "You go, Katara, you beat that sexist git." And yeah, there is a certain catharsis in that, I will admit it, but Katara at her best is always more complicated than that. She is moral, she is heroic, she is arguably the most morally good person on Team Avatar, but her best storylines have her deal with a bit of a darkness inside her, or at least something akin to extremism, a desire to get revenge because she's hurt so much. She is a sensitive person, and that can work to her benefit, but it can also work against her because it means that when she gets betrayed, it really stings, and she's more willing to get revenge even when it's not the wisest thing to do. This episode mostly throws out all that complexity so we can cheer for her. It's not bad, but this show can do better. I've seen it. There are a few bits about that storyline I like. For example, I love how Katara is getting ready to apologize to him, like the chief orders her to, but then he taunts her and she takes all that back. She says, "No, I'm not going to do this. You're a bitter old man and I'm going to fight you and I'm going to win." It's a nice little detail I really appreciate. But while we're on Pakku, can I say that the show treats him a little too sympathetically? This is a man who is so sexist that he would rather let the tribe burn than teach Katara. And I mean that quite literally. Aang says that, hey, if you're not going to train Katara, you're not going to train me either. And Pakku basically says, okay, go away. And no, this isn't just bad, this is irredeemable. This is someone who is risking the future of their tribe, the very existence of their tribe, and the very existence of the free world, just because he doesn't want to train Katara. I don't mind this inherently, but it needs to be framed properly, and it's not here. The character they have set up is not a redeemable villain, but they try to make him redeemable. They try to wash everything away and say, oh, it's not a problem. He's better now. Can we all just move on? And to that I say, no, we can't move on. Pakku isn't just flawed, he is not presented as someone who can be redeemed, especially by something as simple as discovering Katara's grandmother's necklace. So that's another problem. I wish they had gone more into this. I wish they hadn't resolved everything so simply. Avatar is normally very good at episodes. It's very good at telling a complete story within a very short period of time. But this is an example of the show really straining under its episodic structure. We know this conflict cannot go more than an episode or so, because we need to get to the big two-part battle that finishes off the season. But because it can only go an episode or so, it undermines the drama, it undermines the stakes. We don't see this given as much complexity as it ought to be. If Pakku had gradually transformed from this sexist old guy to someone who was willing to train Katara, then I would buy it, maybe, but it's too sudden. It's too abrupt. It doesn't feel right. That does not mean I don't like this episode. I want to make that very clear. I love this episode, just not as much as I love a lot of other Avatar episodes. A big reason I like it so much is the setting. This is a gorgeous place. Now, Avatar is full of lush and beautiful settings, but this might be my all-time favorite. It's Ice Venice. There are these gorgeous canals cutting through the city, and these elegant, elaborate buildings made of ice, and everything looks like it's existed for thousands and thousands of years. It really has the ancient gravitas that is completely contrasted with the very simple accommodations of the Southern Water Tribe, which of course has been ravaged by war. The Northern Water Tribe has managed to keep the Fire Nation out, and we see what a vivid and rich culture it is. It's accomplished so much. Just every building, every corner, every street exudes this sense of ancient, mythical elegance. I love this place, and I wish it was a bigger part of the show. Also, I like Sokka and Yue's relationship. It's really silly. We have Sokka's famous line about, "Do you want to do an activity with me?" But it's awkward in a real way. It's grounded in Sokka's reasonable feelings of insecurity. And of course, Yue cannot return Sokka's romantic affections because she's engaged. So they're both trying to commit to this relationship that they know they can't quite commit to. And it's beautiful and a little haunting. You can tell they really do care about each other, and they really do like each other, which of course makes all the obstacles between them all the more miserable seeming to the viewer, and all the more challenging. We want to see Sokka and Yue overcome these obstacles. We want to see them get together. Avatar: The Last Airbender has never been the best show at writing romantic relationships, And I wouldn't say this one is tremendously well written, but it's sweet, it's innocent, and there's real emotional power to it. There's real care and concern between Sokka and Yue. The mystery element of the episode is handled well too. When we see Iroh agree to serve on Zhao's mission, despite Iroh not liking Zhao in the past, we're made to wonder what's going to happen. Is there something we don't know about? And, in fact, there is. Zuko is alive. We see him first dressed as an ordinary Fire Nation soldier, then he draws down the mask, and we see that although his face is a little more beat up than usual, he has survived the assassination attempt, and he's on this ship, and he's going toward the Northern Water Tribe. This is why Iroh accepted Zhao's offer to be on his mission. It's not because Iroh wants to help Zhao, it's because he wants to help Zuko get closer to the Avatar. Part 3. Context. A part of the reason why the Pakku storyline bothers me as much as it does might be the overall context of how this episode functions in the series. If Pakku had still been considered a pretty bad person who was just finally willing to teach Katara waterbending, I wouldn't mind the Pakku storyline that much, but it's not that. They don't go that route. They redeem him almost completely. He even gets back together with Kana, and I don't really know how I feel about that, because Kana left him 60 years ago and married someone else in the South. They have her be happy to see him again, but I don't know if she would be, realistically. It's not a big deal, it's really not, but it's just an example of one of the many things that bug me about how they handle Pakku. Again, there's nothing wrong with a redemption storyline, but it has to be a storyline. It has to be a progression of events that earn some sort of emotional catharsis. It can't just be, oh, this guy's a terrible person, and then this one thing happens to him that completely changes his outlook on the world. It doesn't ring true. It doesn't feel honest. It feels a little manipulative, to be quite frank. Moving on to things I like more about this episode and how it functions in the whole show. Zuko, in the last 2 episodes, does take this advantage Iroh has given him and embark on a desperate mission to capture the Avatar. And he does, but he doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know what to do. He's walking through a blizzard and he has to hide in a cave. He doesn't have a plan. He's not thinking ahead. All he's thinking of is, in these very basic terms of, I must capture the Avatar and take him back to my father to restore my honor. He's not thinking practically, and he's not thinking long-term. And Iroh criticizes him for this in episode 217, Lake Laogai. He compares the situation Zuko's in that episode, where he wants to take the Avatar's bison, to the situation he's in at the end of Season 1. When Zuko says he would have thought of something out there in the blizzard, Iroh says, no, you would have died if not for the Avatar and his friends, and it's hard to disagree with him. Thinking about this episode as a whole, I think it's an average episode by Avatar standards, but I do think it is a really great setup episode. It does a lot of preparing us for the battle ahead. I don't think we should have just jumped from episode 117, the Northern Air Temple, to the Grand Battle. There does need to be this episode introducing the Northern Water Tribe, and Yue, and Pakku. We need the characters and the stakes set before the battle begins. I am not against this episode on principle, and although I wish the execution of the story beats we see in this episode are a little underwhelming for the most part, it does do a great job of building the tension for the battle. There's genuine anxiety and fear. There's real uncertainty as to how this battle is going to end up. They don't play it like, of course Aang's going to win. He's the Avatar. It'll be a great victory. There's almost death in the atmosphere of this episode. There's the sense that whatever battle is going to unfold, not everyone we see is going to escape unscathed. And I like that a lot. And then there's things that are set up a lot more subtly. For example, early in the episode, we see Uncle playing music with the other members of the crew. This is the last time we see the crew before they leave. And the song they're playing is about 4 seasons and 4 loves. It's a romantic song, right? So, what better to do with it than to fit it into the Sokka and Yue storyline, to make it their love theme. It's really clever and really subtle, and I really like that choice a lot. It shows how much effort and creativity and ingenuity is put into even the smaller parts of the episode. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, donate to my Patreon if you can, and you want to see more content like this. Even $1 a month or so is a big help. Watch more Avatar. It's a fantastic show. Tune in soon for the next Avatar Explained video. It'll be coming soon. Adios, comrades.